season, and here at Time Up, we want to focus on the youth agenda and what the Building Bridges initiative is actually bringing to the youth agenda. With me here on set, we have our panelists. Yes, on this particular show, we are actually going to engage youth leaders in different sectors who have interacted with the Building Bridges initiative, who are actually at the launch in Bomas. And so let me introduce my panel. From my far left, we have Ruth Ambogo, who is a youth policy advisor, who has really interacted with this document and was part of the youth leaders who fronted the youth agenda and what we expected Building Bridges to bring. Karibu sana on set.
Asante sana.
And we have Fredrick Okango, who's the Secretary General of Thirdway Alliance, also a very strong believer of the Punguza Mzigo initiative, which has played a critical role in the Building Bridges initiative, particularly the document that was launched in Bomas. Karibu sana, Fred Okango.
Thank you so much, Gloria, for having me.
And we have a new face, at least at Time Up, Brigid Sangok, who is the director of the Clubfoot Society of Kenya. And she's here to articulate the issues of the people with disability, but also as a woman and as an activist in the youth space. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
So, guys, hey.
Drama, reggae.
Reggae is here. Reggae is ensuing. We went to, were you at Bomas? Who was at Bomas?
I was at Bomas. I saw you at Bomas.
And I'm even wondering where to start. I'm thinking, should I start with the fact that Isaac Mwaura was actually there? Yes. And he, you know, just a day before, he had a whole press conference saying, you know, he's not happy with what Building Bridges initiative is actually doing. It's taking us behind. Yeah. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, thank you, Gloria, for giving me this opportunity. Just I want to say that BBI is a good thing, but it will be good for us, people with disability, if they include our issue, if they amend our issue, because in that PBI, we find it is so discriminative to people with disability, youth, women, male, yeah, I can say that. So
what, you know, we just had Isaac telling us, it's inaturudisha nyuma, you know, and people are saying, you're just saying that because now your position as a nominated senator because of his, you know, the people with disability thing. What exactly do you guys want, actually? What is it that has not been stipulated in that document?
Like, if you read the BBI, like Articles 27, 52 clause, 54 clause 2, they have been excluded, like the employment 5%, AICO, like National Assembly and Senate to be selected. No, most people with disability, we really like tunategemea hiyo nomination, because you can imagine you telling us, like me, a woman, going there to campaign. No one will select me, definitely.
Why?
As we are being discriminated, even penye tunafanya job with, they find, like, I don't know, like they find us as less human beings.
But in all fairness, when we had the launch in Bomas, we actually saw Ashura Michael, who's been a guest at this show, and she articulated her issues. I'm very amazed about that because, you know, first of all, she's the speaker of the East African Assembly.
I know.
She's the speaker, and yet she's deaf. So I call her the deaf queen. And I don't think watu walimchukulia vibaya at the launch. So I mean, and I know she has ambition. So I'm trying to understand, why can't people with disability go out, campaign, sell their manifesto to the 1 million, because tulisikia Isaac amesema there are about 5 million.
Yeah,
you know, you can go and focus your manifesto towards a certain category and then tap into the youth agenda. Mbona mtaki kwenda campaign?
My dear, Ashura, yes, a little present hapo, but I know her. She had not read the BBI. Sisi yenye tumeenda through. We know it. Our queen there, I know she was slaying or whatever, but Apo Ajasoma, she needs to go and read this thing. This thing is not fair for us. Like, really, I'm a discrimination. Like, 5% for employment, my friend Aiko. Atutangangana na nyinyi, as I call normal people. Ashura should go there, read the BBI thing, and then come, and then we sit down. Because on Sunday, when we went there, we heard a lot of things. As in, people with disability must be included.
Okay.
Yes.
Okango.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm of a different opinion when it comes to women being given seats or the less privileged or the maligned, you know, communities. Hiyo ya kupewa, tumewapea sasa chukueni, you want to be included. What is your take on this? Do you think that it's fair to say that we should, they want to be given, they don't want to campaign, the people with disability, they don't want to showcase their, it's not inability, it's actually a special kind of ability. They don't want to showcase that strength. What do you think about that?
Let me just put it clear. The constitution amendment is not change. The word is amendment. You are amending certain areas. You are not changing. You are not overhauling. And I'm saying this because I have read this document over 3 times. And I have been very keen on the issues of Article 100 that requires the protection of people living with disability, the youth, women, and the minority. And it has outlined how the special interest groups in Article 100 that gives the community an opportunity to support them. Now, when you ask about inclusivity, Gloria, the inclusivity that the BBI report envisages is not the inclusivity at the political level alone. The true meaning of inclusivity is when everyone in this country can wake up in the morning, put food on the table, whether you are from Nairobi or Kakelo Kokwanyo ward where I come from, or Homa Bay County. But the inclusivity has been achieved through allocation of equitable share of resources.
So, Ruth, the point that maybe is being brought here, and guys, you can feel free to interject, because, you know, this is also for me a learning moment. Tuambie, is there hope here for youth and women?
Well, there is a lot of hope for youth and women in the BBI document. And first, before I even talk about the hope that is there, you can already see the energy and the reaction of women leaders across the country regarding this document. If we were to begin with women, we could see the reaction of women when the document came out, and mostly it was a reaction that seemed to show satisfaction, that seemed to show that, you know, that their interests had been taken care of in terms of representation. And for women, representation has been a problem for such a long time, because we know some of the struggles and challenges that women have faced in this country from time immemorial to try and get elected to their seats. We know that there are barriers that women face, especially, for example, access to financial capital to be able to run for elective seats, the fact that women face violence during elections and during nominations, the fact that women are always shortchanged at political party levels in most of the big political parties, and therefore accessibility to seats becomes a problem, and very many other, and the bigger fact that we have a patriarchal-based system that has made it impossible, or rather that has made certain communities not even have or even think about wanting to elect women into positions.
There was a question that was posed,
yes,
when you talk about representation, especially elective positions. There was a question that was posed at the BBI launch, and it was to do with the fact that we want to have the women in Senate. You know, one man, one woman. In every county, we have 2 senators. One is a male, one is a female. Yes. And the question that was posed actually was a bit like, now you want to take away the powers from the Senate, which is taking away the autonomy that they had in terms of the county revenue allocation shares, because that was being discussed in the Senate. That was being moved to the National Assembly.
Yes.
And then there were some other items also that were, basically the Senate was being weakened. Yeah. So the question was that now that you've weakened this institution, this Senate, then that is where you want to take the women. So you are taking the women to an institution that has been made almost redundant.
No. Gloria, maybe to just jump in from what Ruth was saying. It is a lie that the Senate has been weakened. When you read one of the annexes in the BBI report, it outlines the functions of the National Assembly and the Senate. They remain as they are in the Constitution of Kenya 2010 today. However, the Senate has been strengthened in the sense that today there is a repeal of Article 123 that allowed the Senate to only vote on the basis of delegation.
Okango, what Article 123?
Article 123 allows only delegations to vote or take a decision in the Senate whenever a decision is to be made, whether it is financial, whether it is a debate on whatever issue or policy. But today in the BBI report, that article has been repealed. It means it has been deleted. Now, the woman and the man in the Senate carry equal vote, and therefore that is a strengthening. Number two, that house has been given a 50-50 equal chance for the both gender to represent their own from the county. Remember, the function of the Senate is to protect the interest of the county. So the women have got a lot of issues that happen in the entire county. And if you don't have a woman in the Senate who can put her voice, just like the same men, then you shall have weakened that house. And therefore, it is a lie to say that the Senate has been weakened. In my opinion, the Senate has been strengthened by bringing women who have equal vote just like men.
You know, you can have the equal vote. Allow me to be the agent of doom here. You can have the equal vote, but if you're voting on matters that are not necessarily tangible to the society, I'm talking about in terms of the revenue allocation, because that has actually been, the proposal by the Building Bridges Initiative is to move the revenue allocation from the Senate.
No? That's not true. National Assembly deals with national issues. One of the national issues is sharing of revenue between two levels of government, the national government and the county government. But when it comes to protection of that revenue that has been shared to the county, the Senate still have that function. When it comes to sharing of revenue among counties, the Senate still have that function.
So what you're saying is the Senate remains as a sort of oversight, but the autonomy that they had in terms of deciding what percentage is going to which county and or to the counties or whatever, that is what you're moving to the National Assembly, because the mandate of the National Assembly is that they deal with national issues.
I feel like we are reducing the functions of the Senate to merely discussing and allocating revenue, and yet there's a lot more that the Senate does. And we are also trying to sort of minimize and reduce the importance of the gains for women at the Senate level. We are forgetting that at the Senate level you're discussing issues that affect counties. You're discussing common issues that affect common mwananchi at the county level. Remember, previously women could not vote. The women who are nominated to the Senate had zero votes.
No votes.
Yes. They absolutely had no vote. And what this means is that at whatever decision that shall be made at the Senate shall have a gender aspect to it. And you see, when we talk about gender aspects to issues being discussed in the Senate, what we are discussing is we are discussing issues. We are talking about women representing common issues that affect common mwananchi. We are talking about allocation of. We are talking about water services. We are talking about issues affecting. We are talking about the welfare of children. We are talking about the welfare of young people. We are talking about healthcare. We are talking about accessibility to services.
So maybe let me also ask another, and maybe Brigid will be able to assist me on this one. Now that there is an understanding, or there seems to be like, okay, women are actually at the table now. You know, the Senate is going to be here. We still have one county, and now we are going to have two senators. So are we saying now that we are going to create regions so that these senators can sort of articulate certain issues from certain regions, or how are we going to? Because it's like you're saying you have one autonomous institution which used to have one leader, and now you're creating two equal leaders, and you're asking them to work in the same interests of those people, to bring in the gender issue. So I am just trying to understand, because yes, there are gains. We can't run away from that. There are gains that now women are actually going to get the same power in the Senate in terms of voting. But sasa kwa ground inakuaje?
Okay, because me I find it is so hard, because like one man, one woman coming up as a Senate to represent, I find it so hard because okay, natetea watu wangu because I find like if you are a person living with disability and here you are campaigning and alafu usichukue hiyo, so you will be counted unless at least we are given 2 to 3 persons with disability are nominated political parties.
So you still feel that even if we have a woman and we have a man, we should now have
at least the political party to nominate.
You are nominate.
Yeah, exactly.
Nyinyi mnataka tu nomination.
I know, okay. Mina naonanga tu kuna bado tuko na discrimination.
Bado mko na discrimination?
Yeah, kuna discrimination, Gloria. We don't want to. I feel that pinch in my shoes. We still have that discrimination.
And yes,
yeah. I mean, just to add on to the onto what she has talked about and the question, to answer your question.
Yeah.
That don't. I mean, would we have to create a special zone of representation because now we have two people, we have a male and female within the Senate? I think the real conversation here should be looked at from the point of view of what systems of checks and balances shall actually now exist when we have two legislators representing, and the Senate representing one county. I foresee a situation where you have a female and male senator all competing to see who is going to work the best.
Or a situation where you have a female and male senator coming from two equally opposing parties who are actually fighting each other, and ultimately, instead of uniting that region or that county, what they're doing is actually pushing that divisive politics.
You know what political competition does? What you call a fight, I call it political competition. And for me, political competition will always be, what I foresee is that political competition will always be on the basis of who is doing better than who. You get? And in my view, if there are two people representing a county, and both of them are competing as to who is going to perform better than who in the public's eye is performing better than the other, then this is a gain for the mwananchi.
Yes. Anyway, that is an assumption that our politics is based on issues. Because then if our politics is based on issues, of course, we are competing with each other to try to outdo ourselves in those issues. But we know that we are not yet there, and our politics is somehow also based on tribal angle.
Look at it in terms of that this is actually one of the cures to...
Absolutely.
Exactly. Like this is actually going to present itself as a cure to this, the political, the kind of political philosophy that we have as a country.
I believe that it could be. And but also as being a pragmatic person, a lot of the things that I have read in the BBI sound very nice. It sounds like Jerusalem. It sounds like the Bible. And it's peace and tranquility. But I believe, this is my opinion, that when I look at how you're going to implement it, that's where the challenge will lie. And just as I say, it's good to have this conversation so we can have a 360 analysis of now we are implementing. You have one senator coming from ODM, you have another senator coming from Thirdway Alliance, and probably at that point they're not really, pushing for the same agenda. So we have to also look about the possibilities of that and how we are going to mitigate that. But I want us to move away from that. On the youth agenda, people have said this thing, youth should be happy. Mkona 7-year tax break, mkona business incubations. What was the other thing they said that we have there?
Youth commission.
You have youth commission now. You should celebrate. I want us to talk about that.
Gloria, if you look at the census report that was released the other year, the latest census report, it reveals that majority of the Kenyan population are young people. This is the population segment that are very industrious, knowledgeable, and competent. But look at what has happened to them in the political field, in the economic field, in the social field. They are actually a minority, and they are recognized by the Constitution as a minority.
Yes.
And therefore, this document of the BBI favors the young people more than anyone. In fact, it favors the young people and the women. And there lies also the people living with disability.
Brigid is laughing.
Now,
Brigid is laughing.
I have something to say.
Brigid, please jump in.
Yes. If you talk about that all youth, even me, I'm youth with person living with disability,
correct.
But there is something which is really burning me inside about the tax.
Okay.
Yes, like tax with people with disability. Why should I renew? I'm permanent, you're
permanently
exemption.
yes, a tax exemption.
I keep on renewing. yearly. Why should I?
You keep on
And
renewing
yes,
that you're
and
a person
I'm
with
permanent
disability.
with disability, and I keep on renewing, and wanajua mimi ni permanent. Hakuna siku moja nitaamka nikwe
Si
straight.
labda hiyo wameona kuna miracle.
Hakuna miracle hapa, my dear.
I think the issue is, let's not mix them. The issue is, what Brigid is talking about is an issue of legislative. If you look at the Disability Act, those are things that can be reviewed. But I'm talking about the...
But let's not... Yeah, but it's under the youth, and let's not take away what she's...
I'm renewing...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's look at how is this document going to impact on the lives of the young people. Whether you're living with disability, whether you're not living with disability. But we are saying, in the BBI report, some of the facts that are reported cannot change. Number one, and I'll tell you why. Where are the youths of Kenya, majority of them? They're in the villages. That is where they are. What has the BBI recommended that is going to ensure that it improves the lives of the majority of the youth that are in the villages? When you create incubation centers through the World Development Fund of 5% of the 35 that is going to the county, then you are creating industrialization at the doorsteps of the young people in the village. That's one.
Just a second before we go too far, because you know, Brigid had talked about that she has to renew her. Is it a license? What is it? First, let's clarify. What do you have to renew? You know, us guys don't know.
So, you know, us, we have been given that privilege. If you are a person with disability, you are not supposed to be taxed. If you have only
zero tax.
Yeah, if you have tax exemption certificate. Now I have this tax exemption. Daktari, I may go through this. Brigid is permanent disabled. Then kwa KRA, I have to renew yearly to show them why should I go there? And it is a process for us. I have to go to the doctor. Doctor ameshasema ni permanent. Nilete barua ya doctor inasema Brigid is permanent. Why should I keep on renewing this?
You see, when I listen to you speaking,
so
my first thought is this task force. Kwani walikuwa na collect views kutoka kwa kina nani? Because that is something they could have caught and included in the Building Bridges initiative as to remove the bottleneck. Eh?
Gloria, I want us to stick to the issues. And I started by saying, in the BBI report, the implementation matrix is administrative, constitutional, policy, and legislative.
Yes.
If you listen to what Brigid is saying, it's valid. It's very genuine. But it is an administrative issue. Be that as it may, if you look at that document, again, the people with disabilities have been categorized as some of the people who have not been included for a very long time. They have been excluded, and therefore they must be given special attention, whether it is economic or social. That has been covered. Now, when you go to the administrative issues, like she's talking about saying, why must she go to KRA to renew every time? This government, they have so many challenges, but one of the things that they have tried to do is to ensure that digital literacy in terms of technology is at par. And I can tell you today, one of the issues that act should now look at, because now that one we don't even for a referendum, they should look at how the people living with disability
a lot of these ones we don't need to go for a referendum. Huh?
A lot of the people, the disability, people with living disability can now have automatic renewal of their certificates or of their whatever exemption online. But that is not the case. The issue here is, let's talk about this document in context. If you put this document in context...
I want to stop you there, because I feel as though that is what... Anytime somebody is coming with a valid point that should have been seen, that should have been put into that document from day one, people tell them, let's not talk about that. That is not the issue. So... My valid point here, and I think I'm speaking also for Brigid, I hope, is that over and above this 300, I don't know how many pages, 204 pages that we have read and gone through and, you know, looked into detail so that we can buy into the idea of Building Bridges initiative, I feel as though the practicality of implementation of certain things that are being proposed is going to be a barrier, because we already have a lot more bottlenecks with the current laws and the current policies that we have, which we have failed to implement. Just like she's talking about, it is an administrative, I agree with you. It is an administrative point that she's putting on the table. But we have failed with the current policies that we have, that she should be exempted. She's permanently disabled. You understand? And this is where, when people keep saying, we have policies, we have laws, we have things that we just need to first enact, to put in place and actually properly say, iyo tumemalizana nayo, and you know it's done, before you come back and add more policies to say that these other things are administrative, will deal with them. That is the point.
We cannot, I agree and I accept that there are certain implementation points of issues that the youth had raised previously that were not conclusively addressed. And that is why part of collection of views of Kenyans, and especially the young people, was to try and see that, for instance, and I know one of the questions that people bring up is we have funds that have been put in place that young people have not benefited from, funds that have been put in place such as Wezo Fund, Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and very many other funds for the young people that the youth have not, that even accessibility is a problem. And when the BBI process came, one of the things that young people expressed was that particular issue that has been brought up. And we cannot also ignore the fact that we can't ignore, and I think this is where now I'm agreeing with Okango, we can't ignore the fact that there are certain things that did not exist previously that have now been brought to the doorstep of the young people, and it is something worth celebrating. That yes, there is what had not been implemented previously, but when we look at the document, is there something to celebrate? For instance, when we talk about the 7-year tax holiday, when we look at it from the point of view of the fact that you're going to give young people who have started businesses a 7-year tax holiday, giving them a chance to grow their businesses, and not just grow their businesses for their own benefit, but grow their businesses to the point where they can actually spare the money they would have paid for taxes to employ other young people and therefore reduce the burden of unemployment in Kenya. You know, like, we need to look at these issues.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes. Nobody is saying there are no goods. Yes. But even as you talk of that instant of the 7-year tax holiday, right? I happen to be in the entrepreneurship space, and I know for a fact that if you're going to cut it off at the official youth age, which is 35 years old, that 7-year tax break doesn't really apply to a majority of the youth, because most of them, by the time they have their businesses, they are like 32, 33. You understand? Yes. So you give a 32-year-old, a 33-year-old 7-year youth tax break, they're only going to exercise it for what? A year, 2 years?
No, look at it. But Gloria, there's a different, yes.
So those are the things that I feel, as much as they sound good on paper and they're theoretic, the real implementation on the ground.
Are you looking at it as an incentive to encourage young people who are below 35, way below 35, to start businesses as well?
I am looking...
How many,
yes.
assuming we're looking at it from your point of view.
Yes.
Let's say 34. You just turned 34, for example, and you're going to enjoy the 7-year tax relief. So you have 1 year to enjoy. How many 34-year-olds do we have in this country that will benefit from such a waiver?
Definitely,
how many,
a huge majority.
So we are saying, in this instance, there are youth, there's a category of youth in that demographic that will definitely enjoy what they never had. Yes. That is the progress.
That is a progress.
In future, maybe now we should revisit and look at.
I want to quote you. No, I want to quote Okango, because the moment he said in future, I want to remind him when he was a guest at this show, and he said, we are tired of people talking about this future. Correct. The future is what? The future is now.
I'll repeat it. You
so what we want now, we want now is it changed. We want it changed so that they understand a majority of our youth are actually, by the time they have that capability to start a business, they're way older.
Let me ask you, Gloria,
they're around 25,
the
26.
The Constitution of Kenya gives any individual at the age of 18 to be an adult. And therefore it means if the government can create an opportunity and an environment that can enable any adult from age 18 to start making money in terms of business, in terms of employment, then they can enjoy fully.
Thank you for saying that.
That's what I'm saying.
The bottom line there is if the government can create a conducive environment.
Yes, and the beautiful, and in fact, and the beautiful part about it is that within the very same document, that has been addressed.
really.
The fact that
I want us,
the fact that barriers to creating employment, barriers to starting businesses need to be reduced, so that young people can actually see that it is actually easy to start a business at 20, 21, 22 and get your 7 years tax
Even
and
at
I like the fact that we are referencing today, you know, we came with this Bible.
We all have
everyone has the Building Bridges Initiative Bible.
Yes.
Tunaweza enda huko tuseme hapo page 126 There's a part
when you are reading legal documents, don't talk of pages.